Good morning, everyone. Happy Mishmas. It is day 17. It is also freezing here in Vegas. I think we're actually expecting a storm. It was freezing and then it felt kind of warm. You know, it was kind of like that calm before storm outside. And then, I don't know, I came back inside and I got really cold again. Anyway, I've got a scarf on, I've got a cardigan on. I'm all cozied up. But anyway, I need some coffee desperately. So we are on day 17 of this Advent calendar. And the poor front of this is like falling apart. 17, oh, a winter delight. It is a blend from India and Brazil, medium to slightly dark roast. And the one note is Black Forest Gâteau. Wow, I'm anxious to try this out. So let me get this steeping and then we'll whip out the Joe Malone Advent Calendar. All right, Joe Malone, day 17. Oh, it's right up here. What do we have here? The fig and lotus flower. Do I have this? This is very ironic because we're gonna be doing a perfume video today and I went up to my perfume collection to pick out my top 10 best, most used, most loved fragrances. And I just looked through all of them and I can't remember if I have this. But anyway, it's very fresh, slightly floral. You know, every time I see fig, I think it's going to be, you know, because I think of like a Fig Newton or other tasty fig treats. And I always think it's going to be sweet. Yeah, it always ends up smelling kind of clean. Anyway, that is Fig and Lotus. Day 17 for Joe Malone. And now let's look for 17 in Diptyque. Here we go, it's this one over here. And we've got an Eau de Parfum. This one is Eau Capitale. Ooh, that's nice. What does this remind me of? I feel like this definitely has rose in it. I feel like this is a lighter version of Portrait of a Lady from Frederic Malle. That one is a very kind of deep, dark, smoky bar kind of fragrance. This one, yeah, it's just a little bit lighter, but it has, I don't know, it's very reminiscent of it. I think it's because it has a lot of like a deep, dark rose note to it. Oh, lovely. All right, so that is day 17 of Diptyque. Oh, someone's come down to join us this morning. Good morning, Butters. And you brought Mommy your little bally? You want to play bally? We have to open up your Advent calendar, though. Let's do it now, while Mommy's coffee is prepping. Are you whining at me already? Are you whining at me already? Cutie pie. All right, let's check out day 17 for Butters. Oh, I see something down here. Oh, I see. Poor girl. I see more lumps of coal. These are the treats that she can have. And if you guys haven't watched any of my previous Mishmas's or Butters videos, she has suffered from pancreatitis, so she can only have treats that have a low fat content. And this and another type of treat in this Advent calendar were the only two that she could have. So anyway, I've just been giving her these lumps of coal. Are you excited? You excited for your lumps of coal? Where are you going with it? Where are you going? Mommy doesn't want it. Mommy's not going to take it from you. Apparently I am. Apparently I am going to take it from her. She just ran off. Okay, let's get this coffee going. Butters just walked back in here, but she still has the treat in her mouth. I'm going to go ahead and plunge. And I'm going to pour onto Christmas Bear here. All right. This is a tart one. Interesting. Proper Black Forest Gâteau, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has cherries on top. So let me taste this again. I mean, it is quite tart. The Black Forest Gâteau actually takes its name from a distinctive and fiery Kirsch alcohol made from Black Forest sour cherries. Well, that explains it. Yes, very, very tart. But because it's like a slightly dark roast, there is that kind of like bitter chocolate kind of flavor to it too. Wow, that is really awesome. Like I mentioned earlier when I was doing the Diptyque unboxing, I thought I would present to you my top shelf, top 10 all-time favorite fragrances. I have been getting more into fragrances, and that's Butter's drinking. And my very good friend here on YouTube, Kelsey Brianna J, we have been Marco Poloing back and forth about fragrances, and we have talked about how we're like scent twins. I don't know that we love the exact same fragrances, but we definitely like the exact same fragrances. Like we have a very similar, I know there's like a term for it, which I can't think of right now, but we have a very similar nose when it comes to fragrances and like what we like, and a very similar taste to it. So I am collabing with Kelsey today. So I'm gonna link her video down below in my description box. Definitely check her out. She she's introduced me to a lot of fragrances. She introduced me to Creed. That's the first one off the top of my head, because I know, well, I'm not gonna spoil her video, but I know there's one that she's most likely going to mention in her top 10, top shelf favorite fragrances. And it's a Creed. And so, yeah, I just had never, like, you know, I had always appreciated the store in New York. I'd always appreciated their bottles or whatever, but I just never really, I don't know, I just never really tried any of their fragrances. And she talked me into it. And as you guys know, I have really been enjoying Creed. So that's what we're going to be doing today after I, you know, get ready and all of that. I think I'm just going to do that in my filming room. So this may be like a hybrid video where it's half vlogging, half sit down video. Only because I just feel like the sound in there is like not quite as echoey as it is in here or the rest of my house. So I think we'll do it in my filming room, but that's it. That's the plan for today. I hope you guys are having a very, very lovely Friday so far, right? Is that the 17th? I woke up this morning and I was like, what day is it? And then it took me a really long time to figure out what day of the week it was, and whether or not I had to take Butters to school. I didn't, it turns out. I am pre-filming, but you guys are seeing this on a Friday. Just gonna enjoy my coffee though. I am, you know, I'm a little tired. I think I talked about this in my droplet video where I talked about that skincare device that I've been loving, by the way. But I have been really tired this Mishmas. You know, this is my third year doing it, and I love doing it. And I still love doing it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I love, you know, like trying to come up with like content every single day, and how do we make it like fresh and fun every time? I mean, I know not every video is going to be for everyone, but you know, I still really enjoy doing it, but I am really tired this time around. I don't remember, no, that's a lie. Last Mishmas was tiring. I was really, really exhausted, but last Mishmas was tough in a lot of ways, and it was actually a really great distraction for me because of everything that was going on with my dad. His health was really starting to quickly decline at that point. And so, yeah, that was a rough Mishmas. And so I thought this one was going to be a lot more smoother sailing, which it has been in terms of like creating content or whatever, but I gotta say, it's just as exhausting. It's definitely just as exhausting. But I mean, I'm glad I'm still having fun doing it, and I'm glad that you guys are still, well, it seems like you guys are still enjoying it, which makes me very, very happy. So yeah, a lot more to come. What's today? Today's the 17th, right? So we have 8 more than a week left of Mishmas. So anyway, let me stop rambling. I'm going to finish up this lovely coffee. Oh my gosh, you know what I'm realizing? I'm not even adding milk to it. I like it so much black. I like the actual flavor, just the way it is. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna drink this coffee black, and we'll be back to do my top shelf favorite fragrances of all time. Hello, I am back. I am ready to talk about my top 10 favorite fragrances. You can consider these like my top shelf fragrances, the ones that I absolutely love, the ones where if you paint that ridiculous picture like your house is on fire, what are the 10 fragrances you would take with you as you ran out of your burning home. And I'm doing this in collaboration with Kelsey Brianna J, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll leave a link to her video down below in my description box. But let's go ahead and get started. I, of course, have one honorable mention. It's like no matter what number I put on a list, you know, I'm going to talk about my 10 favorites. I always end up with like 11. Or my 5 favorites, I end up with 6. 15, I end up with 16.
I don't know what it is, but anyway, I do have one honorable mention, and I'll explain why when we get there. But as I was pulling my fragrances out, I realized that I had 5 fragrances that were like spring, summer, lighter, more of like, you know, if you were to close your eyes, you would envision like greens and yellows and oranges. And then I had 5 that are deeper, a little bit more evening, a little bit more fall, winter fragrance. And, you know, those are the ones when you close your eyes, you picture more of like dark purples and browns and navy blues and those kinds of colors. So yeah, I was just really pleasantly surprised to see that I had sort of this even split between those types of fragrances. So I'm going to start with what I would say has historically been my favorite, which are the lighter, brighter spring, summer fragrances, the more citrusy ones, the ones that are like orange, yellow, and green in color. And I'm going to start with the one that really is or has been my all-time favorite. I have worn this fragrance for probably 20 years, and that is the Jo Malone Grapefruit Cologne. So like I said, this has been a long time favorite of mine. I really am just enamored with this fragrance. This is, I want to say, the fragrance that had me fall in love with fragrances. It was the first time I just wanted to smell like this all the time. It is just fresh, just really fresh. And I've mentioned this before, but grapefruit, this particular grapefruit from Jo Malone, it just makes me happy. There's something about this fragrance, when I close my eyes, it just brings a smile to my face. There's something really bright, but calming about it all at the same time. It is incredibly citrusy. It's not a sharp citrus though. It is a very kind of well-rounded citrus. It's also not too sweet. It's just perfect. It's like the perfect citrusy type of fragrance. Oh, I literally cannot get enough of this. So the notes in Jo Malone, we have grapefruit and tangerine as the top notes, rosemary, mint, paprika, and jasmine as the middle notes. And the base notes are vetiver, oak moss, and patchouli. This is one of those fragrances where I feel like I can describe it as citrus. I can describe it as something light, but I don't feel like I detect any one note that stands out above the rest. I don't feel like this sort of transforms as the day goes on and as your like body warms it up. This is a very consistent fragrance. It really just smells like Jo Malone grapefruit. It's all of these all mixed together, and it's like it's created its own note in and of itself. And like I mentioned, it is a very consistent fragrance. So I do feel like it smells the same when I first apply it as it does at the end of the day. So that's the Jo Malone Grapefruit Cologne. And like I mentioned, this has been the longest favorite in my collection. And in fact, the only fragrance I wore for many, probably 15 years. So that's the first one I wanted to mention. Next up, we have to talk about the Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Aqua Universalis. This is, if I'm remembering correctly, which I may not be, but I believe this is the fragrance that tore me away from the Jo Malone Grapefruit. A friend of mine, hi Julie, a friend of mine introduced me to Aqua Universalis, and I haven't looked back since because this has become another one of my favorite fragrances. When I close my eyes though, instead of seeing like oranges, yellows, and greens like the Jo Malone Grapefruit, I definitely see more whites in this particular fragrance. It's lighter and brighter, I would say, than the Jo Malone. I would say it's not like sweet at all. With the Jo Malone Grapefruit, there's a little bit of sweetness. This one is just much more crisp. So the notes for Aqua Universalis is lily of the valley, Amalfi lemon, bergamot, musk, orange blossom, orange, and woodsy notes. And this, much like the Jo Malone Grapefruit, I feel like it is a very consistent and stable fragrance. It smells exactly the same when I apply it. It smells exactly the same on my skin as it does in the bottle. It smells the same at the end of the day. It smells the same when it ends up on my clothing. Like, it is a very consistent, stable fragrance. It really just doesn't vary as the day goes on or as my skin heats it up or anything like that. Oh, I love this one. So that is Aqua Universalis. And next, I want to talk about the Creed Adventus for her. So Creed was actually introduced to me by Kelsey Brianna J. So she started talking about Creed when we were talking about like our favorite fragrances and when we discovered that we were like nose twins, that we really, really enjoy very similar fragrances, the same sort of like family of fragrances we really, really enjoy. And so well, I'm not going to ruin it because she definitely has a Creed favorite, but I don't know why I decided to get this one first. This is the very first Creed fragrance I ever purchased, and I love it. Now, in terms of fragrance like strength, this one is one of the strongest fragrances I have in my collection, and definitely one of the strongest out of the 10 that I'll be talking about. So I don't feel like when I spray it, it's just overpowering. I spray it, it smells like, you know, a perfume, but it keeps that intensity, that like level, it never fades. It keeps it until like the next morning and well into the next day, like if you don't shower in the morning. It is really, really potent. It is really strong. But anyway, let me go ahead and read you the notes of this. Oh, there's a lot of notes. Okay, so the top notes: green apple, bergamot, patchouli, lemon, pink pepper, and violet. The middle notes are musk, rose, sandalwood, and styrax. The base notes are blackcurrant, peach, amber, lang lang, and lilac. So very fruity, very juicy kind of fragrance, and it is sweeter than both the Jo Malone grapefruit and the Aqua Universalis. And while all the fruits in the top notes, the fruits in the base notes, all of them are very present, I feel like you can definitely smell like the musk and the sandalwood in there, like the deeper kind of scents. All of those kind of like just round it all out. So this is a very, I don't know, when I close my eyes and smell this, I feel like I see yellow and green. And if anything, like a very kind of like lime green kind of scent. So this is another one of my favorites. And this is fairly new to my collection. I feel like I got this last year sometime. So maybe I've had this for, I don't know, a little over a year. And it's just fantastic. It is like a wake up. Whenever I spray this, it's like, woo, like it really, really wakes you up. It is really, really brightening. And very much for me, very much like a daytime, spring, summer kind of fragrance. But because it's there's strength to it, I feel like you could definitely wear it to dinner. I mean, you could wear it anytime, but you know, what I associate it to, you could definitely wear it out to a dinner, like a family dinner. I wouldn't consider this like a sexy fragrance. It's just a really nice, bright fragrance, like a hello, I'm here kind of fragrance. Love it. So that's the Creed Adventus for her. I actually have never smelled the Adventus for him, but I would like to, because I think that would probably be a love of mine as well. The next fragrance I wanted to talk about is the Byredo Pulp. And this is very, very fruity. Very, very fruity. I feel like you smell citrus, you smell berries, you smell pretty much anything. Mangoes, like stone fruits in here, like pretty much all kinds of fruit. It kind of smells like a fruit smoothie, but not quite as sweet. It's just really strong. Like when I close my eyes, I feel like I see like fuchsia, reds, and like oranges, like really bright kind of colors, like a punchy kind of like reddish pink color. And this is another pretty strong fragrance that stays, at least on my body, it stays for a very long time. And I have definitely oversprayed this one where I've like, you know, spritzed twice on my neck and once on my wrist. That's too much. I feel like I just need like one spray down the middle of my neck and then I'm done. I'm good. I'm really, really good. And there's something about this fruity fragrance that is different from my other fruity fragrances. I feel like my other fragrances that have fruity notes, like all the ones that I just mentioned, other ones that I'll be talking about, they're always rounded out by a musk or sandalwood or patchouli or something. And this one may be, in fact, I'll bring up the notes now, but you don't smell it. All you smell are the fruits. It really smells like pulverized fruit. The top notes: blackcurrant, bergamot, and cardamom. Middle notes: fig, red apple, and tiare flower. Base notes: praline, peach blossom, and cedar. I don't really smell the cedar at all. I really just smell fruits. And so for me, this is like such a great summer fragrance because it smells like a cocktail. It smells like a fruit smoothie. It smells like, I don't know, like when I'm sitting by the pool and I'm sipping one of those like umbrella drinks, this seems really, really appropriate to me. And because it's so fruity, there's almost like a heat to it, like a sugar rush to it, despite it not being like a very sweet fragrance. So that's the Byredo Pulp. I don't know if I described that well at all, but those are just like the thoughts that I have whenever I smell this one. And I really, really love it. It is a dream for someone who likes fruity scents, but not too sweet, which is me. I don't really like very, very sweet fragrances, but I do like a light, bright, fruity fragrance. So that's the Byredo Pulp. All right, and next up, I had to mention the Parfums de Marly Delina fragrance. This fragrance is probably the girliest fragrance out of the 10 that I'll be mentioning, or 11 if you want to count my honorable mention. This is like the sweetest and girliest and most kind of like floral kind of fragrance. So let me read you the notes. The top notes: lychee, rhubarb, bergamot, nutmeg. Middle notes: Turkish rose, peony, musk, petalia, vanilla. And then base notes: cashmeran, cedar, Haitian vetiver, and incense. So there's a lot going on, but I smell the rose. I smell the rose probably the most, so the Turkish rose. I smell vanilla, and then I smell like the bergamot and the lychee. I don't even know if I smell much of the base notes, but this is a pretty well-balanced kind of fragrance. I feel like out of the notes that I smell them all sort of similarly. There isn't one that like pops out. This is another one that doesn't really transform as the day goes on. It's very, very consistent. It's very stable. And when I close my eyes, I mean, I don't know if I'm being swayed by the bottle, but I definitely see pinks. I see baby pinks. I see like mid-tone, like rose pinks. And I see like a creamy white, and that's probably the vanilla. But it's a very, very soft fragrance. And if I had to, I don't know, make an analogy or kind of describe this fragrance in like an everyday kind of sense, I would, no pun intended, I would say this is like a first date fragrance. I have some other like third date fragrances in there, but this is like a first date fragrance. This is very pleasant. It's very sweet. It's very feminine. It's not, it's not too overbearing. This is definitely a departure for me, but I have really fallen head over heels in love with this one. And I think it is like the femininity of it. And I also feel like it's a little bit different. Like the Kirkchin Baccarat, the Rouge 540, this one actually knocked that one out of its place, because as much as I love that one, I feel like that one is so identifiable. And this one, while it doesn't have the same notes, I feel like it conjures up very similar sort of colors and visions and things like that. But at the moment, this one is my pick. It's just a little bit more fun and flirty. The Baccarat 540, that one is a much more like mature, sophisticated, very chic fragrance. And I do love it. But I wanted to go with this one because I feel like it is, like I said, a little bit different, but it also like rounds out the 10 that I picked. All right, now we're moving into like the deeper fragrances, the fragrances that I associate more with like fall, winter. The colors are a little bit deeper. And the first one I wanted to mention is the Harmonist Hypnotizing Fire. And this is what I consider more of a third date fragrance, if you know what I mean. While the Delina is like a first date fragrance, you're putting your best foot forward. This is very, very seductive. This is very sexy. And let me read you the notes before I just go on and on. So the top note is pimento. The middle note is Bulgarian rose. And then the base notes are vanilla, Indonesian patchouli leaf, and apopanox. This probably has the least amount of notes, but to me it is very, very complex. And there's something about the combination of everything where I feel like I really kind of don't smell any of the notes separately. They've just all come together to create this hypnotizing fire, much like the Jo Malone grapefruit. Like I can say that, I smell fruits in there or whatever, but it's all been combined to create like its own fragrance. I don't really smell the separate notes. And I kind of feel that way about this hypnotizing fire. I also feel like I smell like a smokiness, a little bit of smokiness in there. I don't actually see that in the notes. Maybe the apopanox has a little bit of smokiness to it. And even though there's vanilla in here, I don't really smell that kind of like warm, sweet vanilla. it's just been combined with the rest of these notes to create something completely unique. But this is such a special fragrance. And it has great staying power, and it's not super strong. It's not like the Creed where you spray it and you're like, oh God, or the Byredo and the Pulp, you're like, okay, next time, just one spritz. This is definitely, I can do pulse points and it's fine, but it's very, very consistent throughout the day. By the end of the day, I feel like I smell a little bit more of that vanilla. The vanilla kind of comes out. It's like a little bit sweet. It's actually it really is like the perfect third day perfume, if you know what I'm saying. That vanilla comes out at the end, just kind of warms everything up, makes everything really sweet. There's also a hypnotizing fire candle, which I showed you in my candle collection video. That is incredible because it really brings out the smokiness. Oh, it's so good. So that is the Harmonist Hypnotizing Fire. I love this fragrance. And this fragrance from Memo Paris, this is Sicilian Leather. This one kind of transcends seasons for me because it is very citrusy, but there's also a very strong leather scent in there. But it's a very kind of new, fresh leather, and the citrus, it just sort of combines together and kind of creates this deep and warm, yet very bright and luscious kind of fragrance. It is so unique. The combination of citrus and leather in this is it's just genius. Those aren't like two notes that I would normally combine together. I would kind of leave citrus to do its thing, or I would leave leather to do its thing. But they combined it in this in such a perfect way. When I close my eyes, this is like a late summer drive along a coast in like an antique sports car. Was that specific enough? That's what I see. That's what I envision. Like the sun is like low in the sky. It's really like a warm sun. And you can see the ocean off into the distance, but you're in this antique car. And so it's got that kind of leather smell. Okay, let me read you the notes, which will probably give you a better idea of what I'm rambling about. Okay, so the top notes, leather, lemon, bitter orange, and cedar. The middle notes are bergamot, lime, violet leaf, cardamom, coriander. And the base notes are guaiac wood, akigala wood, balsam fir, and patchouli. It is just incredible. And this smells like new leather. I've said this before. There are some leather scents out there where I feel like some smell like new leather and some smell like old, dusty library leather. I like both, but this one is more of like a new leather kind of scent. So that's the Memo Paris Sicilian Leather perfume. And speaking of leathers, I wanted to mention the Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This is very new to my collection, but I have been wearing it a lot. It is a leather that is much more subtle in this fragrance, at least a lot more subtle than the Sicilian Leather, which is like leather, like you really smell leather. This one is really rounded out by a lot of other notes. So let me bring those up for you. Okay, so the top notes, violet leaf and cedar. Middle notes, jasmine, sambic, and orris. Base notes, leather, woody notes, and tobacco. And I think what I love about this one so much is you can really smell the tobacco. This smells like a club chair in like a smoking room, but light, not heavy like that. There's definitely a lightness. I think the violet leaf definitely brightens it up a little bit, but it's just a very pleasant kind of deeper fragrance. Like if you are maybe just dipping your toe in the deeper fragrance pool, maybe you've always stuck to citrusy scents or like light florals or really sweet scents, maybe you're kind of branching out a little bit. This could be a good starting point because it's none of the notes are like in your face. Like you're not like the Sicilian Leather where you're really gonna smell leather or you're really gonna smell tobacco or any of those like really kind of like deeper, darker, wintry kind of notes. Yeah, to me, this is like a lighter version of all of that. Very wearable. I feel like this transcends like day into night and it's very pleasant. It's a very pleasant fragrance. So that is the Tom Ford Ombre Leather. And then another Tom Ford fragrance that I have been just reaching for, and I have tried Tom Ford fragrances. I tried them like a while ago. I tried some of the ones that I thought I would typically enjoy like I can't remember. I think it's like a Neroli Portofino that has like citrusy notes in there, but they weren't very crisp. I feel like a lot of Tom Ford fragrances, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of notes going on, and none of them are really like just like bright, citrusy, crisp. There's always like something kind of warm and like heady about them. And so I kind of steered away from Tom Ford fragrances for a long time. I just didn't think I liked them. But I have come across, at least these two, I've come across and I really enjoy. Now, I love the smell of tobacco. I've mentioned this on my channel before. I'll just say it again, though, in case you're new here, in case you've come over from Kelsey's channel. Thank you. Tobacco is one of my favorite fragrances. I am an ex-smoker. I miss smoking cigarettes. I miss smoking every day. And I do love the smell of tobacco. And I think a lot of people mistake tobacco for actually burnt, for like a burnt kind of cigarette smell. But tobacco, if you smell like pipe tobacco or anything like that, it has like a sweet kind of tangy scent to it. And it's very, very unique. There isn't a lot that smells like it. Although the one thing I feel like it smells like is raisins. So it's like kind of a sweet, kind of a tangy smell like raisins. And I know that, I don't know, that's maybe a turnoff to you, but that's what I smell when I smell tobacco and I love it. I don't know, for me, maybe it's like nostalgia. Whenever I opened up like a fresh pack of cigarettes, oh God, that smelled so, so good before you set them on fire. It just smelled so good. And then the vanilla really rounds it out. So like I said, tobacco can be very kind of like sour smelling or tart smelling. And the vanilla just adds a little bit of sweetness, adds a little bit of warmth, and really just rounds it all out. But let me pull up all of the notes for this tobacco vanilla. So the top notes, tobacco leaf and spicy notes. Yes, there is also a little bit of spiciness. I wouldn't say this is like spicy. I think the hypnotizing fire is a little bit more spicy. There's a little bit, there's like a drop of it. The middle notes, vanilla, cacao, tonka bean, and tobacco blossom. Base notes, dried fruits and woody notes. Maybe it's those dried fruits that really bring that tobacco home. It is wonderful though. This is another one. I feel like if you're dipping your toe into like the deeper, darker, more wintry scents, give this one a shot because it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm sorry, I'm not like giving you any sort of color associations to this, but this is definitely like, I want to say when I close my eyes, I see plum. Plum is the color that I see, like a very kind of like brownish purple, cool toned plum color. Yeah. So that is Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. Okay, and the last fragrance in this top 10 top shelf perfumes of mine is the Frederic Malle Portrait of a Lady. Now this was recommended to me by Stephanie Windsor, and she she was like, I think you'll just like it. It's not like your light, bright, citrusy scents. Like don't think it's gonna be that. She's like, it's a much deeper, darker scent. She's like, but I just think you're gonna love it. And she was not wrong. I love this fragrance. It is so sensual and it's so atmospheric. Like as soon as I close my eyes, I feel like I'm in one of those like deep underground, like smoky bars. Like, you know, in New York when you have to like walk down the stairs into a bar and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna come out alive. That's what I see when I close my eyes. It's so mysterious. And while I've called the Delina a first date fragrance, Hypnotizing Fire is like a third date fragrance, this is kind of like a one night stand kind of fragrance. It's so like confident woman kind of fragrance. So the top notes, rose, clove. I think it's the clove. The clove I think is what makes me envision like a dark smoky bar. Rose, clove, raspberry, blackcurrant, and cinnamon. Middle notes, patchouli, incense, and sandalwood. And then the base notes are musk, benzoin, and amber. So there's a lot of headiness going on there. There's a lot of like the middle notes, a lot of those are generally used for like base notes, but they've like brought them all up. And then the top notes, oh, it's just a wonderful mix of like floral and spices between the clove and the cinnamon, and then some of the other florals in there. It's just amazing. just amazing. And this is another one that will stay with you all night, which is really great if you're going out. So that is Portrait of a Lady from Frederic Malle. And so the one fragrance I wanted to mention, kind of as an honorable mention, is this Deauville from Chanel. I love this fragrance, and this fragrance is definitely a citrusy, light, bright spring summer fragrance of mine. And I feel like if I was doing this video maybe in the spring summer, this maybe would have made it onto the list versus one of the deeper, darker ones. So I did just want to mention this because I really love this fragrance. I have a lotion in this fragrance. I have like a body wash in this fragrance, which was lovely. I've already gone through that. Oh, but it's just really fresh. It's a great everyday fragrance. It's a great like no-brainer fragrance. You can just spritz it on and you know you'll smell nice. So the top notes for Deauville is basil, Sicilian orange, lime, bergamot, petitgrain, and lemon. The middle notes, green notes, hedion, jasmine, and rose, and then the base notes, patchouli. I only see just like bright yellows and greens when I close my eyes and smell this. And it really is, it's just fresh. It's just pleasant. It's unoffensive. It's just really, really just all around beautiful. It is a pretty light fragrance. So I would say, I mean, I still smell it by the end of the day, but it definitely fades. Like it's stronger at the beginning of the day and it definitely fades by the end of the day, where I feel like all of the fragrance, all 10 of the other fragrances I mentioned, those are all like very consistent. You will smell it pretty strongly at the end of the day, just as you did when you first applied it. But this one definitely fades by the end of the day. But that is Chanel Deauville, and I just wanted to mention this because, like I said, I feel like if I had made this list in the spring, summer, there was a very, very good chance that this would have ended up on the list. So that is it for my top shelf fragrances. Definitely check out Kelsey Brianna J's video. I cannot wait to see what she names as her top 10. I'm probably going to run out and get the ones that I don't have, although I feel like maybe I have some of them. But anyway, that's it for this Mishmas video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying Mishmas, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.